Hey, it's 9 o'clock and I'll call the meeting of the Codington County Board of Commissioners to order. And Commissioner Johnson, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, number 2 on the agenda is call for public comment. So public comment can be submitted in person or by telephone. The following 2 telephone numbers, 605-882-6248 or 605-882-6297. Remind folks to silence their cell phones, and if you need to take a call, please step out of the room. Are there any conflict of interest items for any commissioners?
No.
For me. And I would entertain a motion. Number 4.
So moved.
The agenda for today. Motion by Van
second.
Dusen, second by Schwer. We probably will have a need for an executive session at the end. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Okay, that motion carries. Number 5, action to approve May 23rd minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Johnson. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Schwer. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Okay, that motion carries. Number 6, monthly reports. First up, Jody. Extension.
Good morning, Jody.
Fine, right?
Yep.
Right, well, yesterday I was busy waiting for a bus, finally showed up for 4-H camp. The 4-H went out to 4-H camp yesterday. A total of 24 youth are attending 4-H camp at Camp Ponset. 1 youth will be attending Performing Arts Camp next week at NSU. Thank goodness, I did have 2 adult chaperones for the girls to go down there, and we had some other ones from other counties to cover our boys. So I did not have to go this year. But we did take the bus for the first time since 2019. We haven't had a bus. Usually we've had lower numbers and stuff. So parents have been driving. So this is the first year we went back to the Watertown school bus. Next week is the 4-H shake wagon at Dakota Bank for 4-H. Youth will be serving you shakes June 13th to the 15th from 11 to 7 each day. There'll be $4 shakes. We have vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. And dog practice has begun on Wednesday evenings, and that's held on our grass. Thank goodness for our great volunteers that are helping lead our dog practices. We have 2 more consumer decision-making and horticulture skill-a-thons that will also include youth livestock literacy that youth need to show livestock, and there's still a few that still need that yet. New this year is 4-H shotgun, and that will begin on Tuesdays, June 20th out the Trappist Skeet. So that'll be new this year. We're just having kids sign up for it yet. We still have openings for shotgun yet. Our horse show will be held on Monday, June 26th in Clark with Clark and Codington together. And then our kid care babysitting clinic will be held Tuesday, June 27th, and we still have openings for our babysitting clinic. So June will go very quickly. So
Busy month.
Those openings, how can people sign up for that?
just call the extension office for the shot. For the kid care, we do have a link on our extension website under the codingtoncounty.org that they can sign up for the babysitting clinic and find the form there. So
Okay.
It's codingtoncounty.org, not
Cod-
Codington.org is the main county website. You're the extension.
no, it's the main county one,
Okay,
and it's
it
under
is. Okay.
extension. So yeah,
All right.
Good.
somebody got
Codington.org.
Codington.org. Okay. Yeah, it's under extension.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Busy son. All right. Todd, Veteran Service Officer.
Morning, Todd.
Good morning, everybody.
Got kind of a Navy camouflage thing going on there.
Yeah, can't see ya.
Camouflage there.
Talk loud, we can't see you.
Yep.
Don't fall in the water.
So for the metrics here for the month of May, basically going into June here, we currently have 152 open claims that we're working. Year to date, we've completed 155 claims. The increase for the month of May was $5,773. Again, that's the monthly compensation that came through that increase for the veterans or their dependents. Year to date for the whole monthly increase is $60,208. Retro payments for the month of May was $78,577. Year to date is $397,000 and some change for that. One veteran transport in May and one currently scheduled for June. So the VA came out with their GDX report, which is a geographic distribution of VA expenditures for Codington County. So we'll give you a little history here. So in 2020, veteran population, according to the VA, these are all VA numbers, was 2,139 that were within the VA system or recognized by the VA to be in the area. The total of expenditures for Codington County in 2020 was $16.5 million, with comp and pension was 6.8 million. So when they look at this, they're also looking at our local clinic and the people that are employed there, the rent they pay there and stuff of that nature. So that's all encapsulated in these numbers from that standpoint. The comp and pen would be benefits that would be, that's what we do. We work out of our office to apply for that from that standpoint. In 2021, the numbers were 2,095 veterans. With roughly, we had a little bit of a drop. It was 16.3 million. But on the CNP side, it went up to 7.4 million. In 2022, just for last year, the veteran population went down to 2051, but the total of amount spent in VA went up by over $3 million to $19.4 million of money spent, according to that. And on the CNP side, comp and pen again, that went up by $2.4 million. As far as
what is comp and pen include?
Comp and pen, that is going to be people that are service connected for disabilities, pension, VA pension. This is DIC claims for dependent indemnity claims for spouses from that standpoint. This also includes insurance claims from that standpoint.
Okay.
If I was to look at it,
anything through the VA.
I can expound on it. Just veterans compensation for service connected disabilities, dependent indemnity compensation for service connected deaths, veterans pension for non-service connected disabilities, burial and other benefits to veterans and survivors.
That's a lot of insight into what's,
Yeah. So I mean, that's all positive data there from that standpoint. So enough on the numbers aspect of things. The city auditorium, just a little update what's going on over there. We are working to get the AC fixed in the new office. They got to do out for that. It's been holding about 83, 84 degrees. So we're not going to move over there quite yet. But we're also waiting on some parts for the new desk. They do have the new desk, but there's a power channel that's supposed to we utilize to hook up our computer and stuff. So we don't have that yet. So we're not moving over there until we get the AC fixed at least. So the handicap chair access that goes up and down there, they have put a new mother plate in it. It's still not working quite right. It's something they think to do with the electrical, then gets converted to a 24 volt system, and it's only 12 volts that are coming in. So once they put a load on it, it pops the breakers. So they're working, still troubleshooting to get that figured out. The archery class is going on downstairs now, and the gymnasts are back in the gym. from our understanding, they have a lease there for the gym area, but, so I mean, from a standpoint that, we talked a little bit here a couple months ago about a feasibility study, but I'm guessing maybe they found it that it's feasible, so we shouldn't have to move our offices anytime, hopefully in the near future, so all good there. We attended that Coffee for Veterans the other, here in May. It was at Gather, there was basically, the people from the Department of Labor, Ashley and her supervisor, another gentleman that came up from, worked with veterans in Brookings, and Jay and I. So there was no veterans that attended it from that standpoint, but we did have a great conversation as far as in reference to the veterans that help veterans were there. We talked about veterans and stuff like that. So, and Jay completed a 8-hour American Legion basic VSO online training. Now he's again one notch up on the American Legion as far as being, the next class would be more of an advanced class. You might have to go someplace for that. We're working on getting the on the job training program for him so he can utilize some of his remaining GI Bill from that standpoint. So we started that. I've completed his performance appraisal and he's doing a great job from that standpoint.
Good.
Future issues or future things coming up. Radio show Thursday, 8 June, KWAT, roughly around 0845, and KXLG around 9:15. Just a reminder that today is June 6th of 1944 was D-Day from World War II, invasion into Normandy there. Also 14th of June is Flag Day. From that standpoint, so get your flags out, fly them.
It's also the Army birthday.
What?
It's also the Army birthday.
Oh,
There you go.
yep, Army birthday. Yeah, you're right. I'm a National Guard Army guy, but I always think about the National Guards. Now you're gonna ask me what it was. I'd lead into that one. But yes, and the Army's birthday. Bridge dedication for Corpsman Second Class Charles T. Langenfeld on 1 July at 1400 hours at the Redlands Center here in Watertown. Bridge to be dedicated is at the Willow Creek Bridge on East Highway 212. This is the third bridge to be dedicated in this county since the program started 4 years ago. Veteran of the Year nominees, the commanders will make their nominations and the selection will be done in August. Again, overall, we're busy, got plenty of walk-in traffic in our office. Are there any issues, questions, concerns?
I think, I just would note that I happen to be back in my hometown where I'm a member of the American Legion in Toronto and White. They've joined together now. And I have to give most of them are about my age, so they're older guys, but they're all putting out flags for Memorial Day. And the veteran services throughout South Dakota, I mean, they go above and beyond. I had a chance, I went to several cemeteries over Memorial Day and it's just nice to see all of the flags, and most of them were put up by American Legion posts in the area. So hats off to those people.
Yep.
They've really worked hard. One guy said the ground was so hard he couldn't hardly push the stake in. He said it was just terrible. He said, now we get a little rain, it'd be help.
Yep.
They did a good job.
The National Guard's birthday is December 13th of 1636. They are the oldest military division in the country. So
December 13th. I knew they were the oldest, but
1536.
1636.
1636.
Impressive that you had that number.
Yeah. Thanks,
that is
Google.
awesome.
I cheated.
Thank you.
I cheated. I'll tell you, I cheated.
Okay, have a good day.
So, thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Report. All right, number 7 on the agenda, update from Lewis Canfield, the Director of Youth.
Morning, Lewis.
Program at the Waters. Liz, did you want to come up too, or are you happy?
Sure.
Sure.
Got it, but I'll come up and say.
Would you like copies of my charts?
We have it.
Okay. Sounds great. Okay, so I wanted to share a couple of things with the commission. And then hopefully take some questions and also request your support on a couple of grants that we're writing to extend our services. But first, just a little bit of an update on JDAI, which is Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative. So that's our strategy we put into place back in 2017, 18 to reduce the number of juveniles in detention. So if you look at that first chart there, we're still making pretty good strides. As of 2022, we were at 0.6 was our average daily population. So still significant compared to where we were at in 2017. And then the average length of stay is definitely the bigger change there. Looking at back in 2017, we had when a juvenile got arrested, it was nearly 8 days before they would go in front of the judge and potentially be released or adjudicated to stay longer if need be. So
just so the public, if they're looking at this, they know
Yep.
what this means. So the top chart means that there's, on average, less than one juvenile in jail at any given time. So 0.6 is the average. So that's good. You want that number low.
exactly.
And then the average length of time that they stay in there since 2017, that's low too. So
That's low too.
yeah.
And that over 3 days average, that's considering one juvenile was in for a significant amount of time in 2022. I want to say 90 days. So you take
It's just
that
because of one person.
because of one person. So,
Yeah.
so we're definitely moving in the right direction. And we have a couple of ideas to help that even further here that I'll talk about here. On the diversion side of things, this is the youth that don't necessarily get detained. But these are minor offenses, kids that maybe tobacco citations, misdemeanors, truancy, those kinds of things. They get diverted to our program. We work with them, get them connected with different community resources, and hopefully get their charge dismissed as long as they finish their program. We've had a really strong increase in referrals. If you look at 2020, when we took over, it was 143. This year and fiscal year ends at the end of June, we're over 400. Doesn't necessarily mean that more kids are violating the law. I think more kids are being diverted than previous years. And also for multiple offenses. The biggest reason for that strong increase from 2022 to this fiscal year is because we started taking tobacco citations. So prior to the school year, if a kid got picked up for a vape, honestly, 98% of the time it's vaping, maybe 99%. But if they got picked up for vaping, they would get a citation. They'd go to the courthouse. Parents would pay a fee, or the juvenile would assist with that fee. Now what we do when those kids get caught with a vape is they go through our program. So there's still a small fee, but there's also some education. We get them in with the screening with the Project Success program at the high school. And then depending on their use, they may have a class to take, they may have an online course to take. They're getting more education instead of just paying a fee, which I'm going to share some results with you here. We've made some significant changes here just in this first year of tobacco specific. So 402 cases that we've worked with this year. Of those 402 cases, 278 have been successful, so they completed the requirements. 127 of them are individuals. One case in and out, but 151 of those are kids that have multiple offenses. And that's actually 85 unique names of kids. So it's not necessarily a one-shot deal. You might be dealing with truancy and you get a vape citation. So you'd be in for multiple offenses. We're not going to necessarily fail a juvenile for having those two offenses unless they don't follow through with their requirements. So sometimes we have to send kids back to court services for formal processing, and that's happened 31 times of the total. Still have 92 cases that are in progress. Some have declined. But yeah, so far it's a pretty strong success rate, around that 88 to 90% of our kids do successfully complete the diversion program.
When you say declined, Louis, those are kids that choose to go into the justice system and rather than take the referral to the JDA.
Yeah. Or it's kids that we maybe tried many attempts to get them into the program. They've moved away. That might be 3 kids. That's one of those kids I want to say had 6 or 7 citations, and we couldn't get him into the program. So,
so when you had a decline situation, just to kind of pick up on Commissioner Van Dusen's question. So that means they still get a criminal record. I mean, as a result of that.
Correct.
And in this case, it's probably just a fine. I mean, that they're paying, but that goes on the record. The whole thing with diversion is it's a kind of a nip it in the bud thing. but it's also a kind of a second chance thing too. So you don't, if you have somebody who made a dumb mistake and then they don't, and they have an opportunity not to have a criminal record because of that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There's still definitely accountability and consequences if they're in that decline column. And it's obviously majority of people want to do the diversion route because it makes sense to get
They
the
don't want
record.
the
cleared.
record.
They
Yeah.
want to learn their lesson and
Yep.
move on. And
But
that's
still, the thing to emphasize though, that you made a good point, is that there's still consequences. They still have to do some stuff.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
earn
it's,
that.
they definitely have to earn it. And then I also have a breakdown here, very small. I understand that's going to be difficult to read, but I wanted you to see the types of cases that are referred to the youth diversion program. And as you can see, significantly tobacco offenses are 117 of the total caseload. But that final chart I have there is just tobacco citations from the start of school, and we just started taking cases. So the first number is not showing up, but it was 24 referrals in September, and now when I pulled this report, it was middle of May, so that's maybe increased a little bit, but we're definitely seeing a trend in the right direction. And I think a big part of that is the education they're getting through the Project Success program, and not just paying a fine.
Mhm.
So. Other comments or questions on the data at all?
So do you think, I mean, some of it, obviously the big proportion of that increase is tobacco, but are there any other just general crime trends? I mean, we at some of the JDAI meetings, I remember some of the reps from the WPD talking about that. There is some general, there's a general increase in crime. I mean, in some of the statistics in some areas.
Yeah,
So that could contribute a little bit, but also I think people being maybe more attentive to the program and the advantages that this brings, taking advantage of the opportunity for diversion as opposed to, and doing those things, doing some consequences. I mean, but helpful consequences, and then, avoiding the criminal record. I mean, do you think it's kind of a combination of factors?
I think so. And that is a true point. When the police department had their annual report, they did show an increase in juvenile crimes, not as significant as the increase as our caseload. It was a small trend in the upward. I can't speak for the state's attorney's office, but I do feel that they do feel there's more accountability, and instead of maybe dismissing a charge that might be minor, they're potentially sending that to the diversion programs to get some accountability. So I can't say for certain, but
Okay.
It's a good question.
There's a couple of these on here that, first off, thank you for all the work that you've done and what you're doing, but you got a lot of work ahead yet.
Yeah.
There's still a lot of work. When I look at, there's no excuse for these young kids, being involved with alcohol. I mean, we need to just really work on that, and that's one area. And the other one that really surprised me, simple are assaults. What's wrong with the parenting of these children? You really wonder, that they have to do something pretty drastic in order to be, picked up for assault. And that bothers me.
It does, and
It kind of makes me feel, how safe are our schools? Do we need to have more, school resource people in there, or what do we need to do? You see it every day, though, I suppose.
I do, yeah, and that's one of the areas where that was an increase in the from the law enforcement's perspective was assaults on juvenile or parents, and you nailed it. I mean, parenting is a big part of it, and that's something that we're constantly strategizing ways to help. One of the things we've done here this year is a program called Strengthening Families. So I want to say we have 6 or 7 families that are either there voluntarily, or I want 3 or 4 of them are either court ordered or as part of their diversion program. They need to be there to focus on those types of things. But yeah, it's an uphill battle for sure.
Yeah. Keep at it.
Thank you.
Myron, just for clarification on a simple assault, it doesn't mean necessarily that it was just an outright attack. A simple assault could be something as simple
But it
as
doesn't
2
mean that.
kids. You're right. Yeah. So I don't think we want to put the fear of people that
I
people are
think
just
we should
beating
put
up.
the fear of people in them.
Well, yeah.
Doggone it.
But what
Well,
we go good.
Well, I mean, if I come up
I
and just
understand
push
your
you,
point.
that's a simple assault. I
sure.
mean, technically, if you're in fear. So I mean,
Mhm.
some of those could be just, relatively minor, but
Yeah.
they're all serious.
It is what
We
it
have to
is.
address them. Yeah.
That kind of helps me transition into my next point, which is sometimes kids do get a pending simple assault charge for violence in the home, right?
Mhm.
You talk about those conflicting situations with kids and their parents. And that's why we put together the RAI, the risk assessment instrument, which is a statewide tool for when a juvenile does get arrested. We rate them based on what we know on their history, their pending charges, their risk to either flee, the risk to be an issue in the community. And if those kids score for a release, they're sent home to a family. However, sometimes there's a victim in the home and that juvenile cannot be released to the family. So therefore, we don't have any kind of shelter care situation in our county. We would then have to detain those youth. And that's happened. That could be 6-10 times in a year that a child has to go to the detention center for a night or over the weekend. And that's unfair, especially if they score for a release, and it's more of a parental issue. So what we've done is last year we wrote a grant for a court resource home from the
So
department.
just,
ahead,
are we
please.
transitioning to number 7 on the agenda? I think that's probably kind of where we just.
Yeah, should I pause?
Well, you're getting into number 8, actually, so.
Am I?
What, yeah, why don't you
Maybe
go,
I'll
why don't you
pause.
go ahead and do number 8 is discussion of possible action to authorize chair to sign a letter of support and the grant application for the court resource home. So go ahead, let's go ahead and finish. this
Sure.
one.
Yep. So that, so then we received the grant last year. The grant expires this month. And we have secured a court resource home, and we've just put it into practice. We haven't had to use the court resource home yet. It was just middle of May. But if I could, can I invite Rich to come join me? Yeah, trade.
No, that was Liz Christensen here.
Yeah, that was Liz Christensen.
Sat there in support of.
Thank
You
you.
did, good job.
Correct.
Thank you.
Boys and Girls Club.
So we are requesting the county's support to again apply for the court resource home grant for year 2. These are not county funds. These funds go directly to the Boys and Girls Club, and then we distribute them for licensing and contract services. But we've been working with Rich and Barrett Ohm for the last year, getting them licensed to be a temporary foster family for situations such as the one I explained.
So just to kind of echo something that Lewis was saying, so appreciate the Ohms being willing to do this, because they're, it's kind of a special type of foster care that they went through the process to get certified and everything. We don't have, we don't quite have enough throughput in our county, thankfully, that we need to build a building, like at nighttime, some kind of a diversionary place, or I'm sorry, an alternative place, alternative to the jail. But on the other hand, there are those few times a year where you can't, like Lewis was saying, where you can't send a juvenile back to home, but they really don't belong in jail either. So this is for those situations. So, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly explained. We don't want to use the resource home, at least not often, but based on our history, the previous years, anywhere from 6 to 10 situations where instead of the juvenile staying in the detention center on a Friday night where we can't see them till Monday morning, they would then go with the Ohms and stay with them, be taken care of, and avoid the whole traumatization of the detention center.
Can you give us some information on how, give us a grant and how the grant works?
Sure. Yep. It is a 1-year grant through the Department of Corrections, written by the Boys and Girls Club. And then because the diversion program in JDI is it's a court approved program. We felt it's necessary to get the approval from the commission before submitting the application.
Well, and then the commission has to, does it go through the county because it requires a signature from?
We are.
And plus we want to do this letter of support as well. So.
Correct. Yep. So we'd like to get a letter of support, which has been drafted, I believe. We just need your approval before we can submit it. Okay. And in addition, sign the grant application. So there'll be our signatures on there. The chair of the commission and also Judge Means has supported it with her signature and letter. And
then the last question I had was, what amount are we talking? And is it 100% or is there some just to make it clear that the county does or does not have a match?
The county does not have a match. Funds will not run through the county. It's, I want to say this one's just under $22,000 to renew this grant application.
You said this is for 1 year?
Correct. This is for 1 year. Last year, we wrote the grant for $30,000 because we had to include additional dollars for licensing. So now that the ohms are licensed, it's a little bit less of a request. There's still some upkeep and training and those kinds of things.
Entertain a motion to approve. So basically the motion would be to allow a letter of support to be signed and then to allow the chair to sign the grant application. package.
Some of,
A motion by Johnson,
I'll second it.
second by Schwer. Any other discussion or questions?
This place, Rich, is gonna be in your new facility then, or where's the?
Right now, it's gonna be wherever we live, so we're the place we're renting. They get the extra bedroom when they're there. So if they come right into our home, we treat them just like one of our kids. So. But eventually that'll be in our new place.
Okay, any other questions or discussion? Okay, well, all in favor, please say aye. Opposed, say no. That motion carries. Okay. So, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Can I ask, there was the other second grant application, is that on the agenda or?
That one's
No.
not on the agenda. No.
Yes, I thought it was just the one.
I guess I didn't understand that.
First resource.
What's that one for?
So if I may talk about it, the other, there's two. The other one is a new grant this year. It is a racial and ethnic disparities grant to allow us to look into a reception center in our county. So
Okay, well, it's not on the agenda, so. So,
soon, yeah,
is it really?
it is.
Okay, that, I think we're gonna see. So, okay,
We do an emergency declaration because of
well,
the timeline.
yeah,
We can push it to next week, I'd imagine, if that's okay.
if you,
I
yeah,
can-
can, because we need
request
some, we need some time to talk about that, to think about that one. Perfect. We'll just,
That's fine.
yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, if we misunderstood.
Thank you.
That's okay. Nope, we'll make it right. Take care.
Thanks, Louis. Good update. All right, number 9, discussion and possible action to enact a burn ban resolution. So Sherry stopped by this morning and from our emergency management office and said that Andrew and she had been talking to the fire chiefs around the county. They're not recommending a burn ban. It's still pretty green out there despite the lack of rainfall. So if there's any discussion on that, so you guys might have some views from being out there.
but be careful. If you are gonna burn, be sure and notify the
911.
911 center so that because if you see somebody burning, somebody's gonna call it in probably. So if you call ahead of time, at least they know and have an idea what's going on. And there has been a couple of fires in the county in the past week, and I think one was, they all start out as a controlled burn, right? And then all of a sudden, the wind comes up and they're a non-controlled burn. So if you're gonna burn, use some common sense and be careful. And you think that burn barrel is as safe as you could possibly think it could be, but a lot of those fires start at a burn barrel. So be careful out there.
Yeah, so the number to call 605-882-6210. Don't call 911
Yeah.
unless it's really burning.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, number 10, action to approve a notice to bidders for microservicing a road project on approximately 8.5 miles on County Road 6A and 23.
Myrick?
Good morning. Yeah, this is what I had brought to you a while ago. This is a budgeted item to help our county road 23 north of Tinkertown. This is just so we can start the process to advertise it, to go out to bids.
So moved.
Motion by Johnson.
Second.
Second by Van Dusen. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. That motion carries. And I think you have another one.
Yes. This is,
Number 11. So this is, number 11 is discussion of possible action to declare an emergency and authorize to hire banner for engineering services for road repairs on county.
here's the
roads.
pictures.
Please go.
And I sent some pictures to Lee to put up on the board. This is County Road 6, north of here. East of the interstate. This is 72, there's two 72-inch culverts that it has washed the road out underneath. And the road is still open. We're monitoring it every day to see if it gets worse. And this is to hire Banner to come up with a plan to fix this.
Let me get another
What
picture.
direction is that from County Road 11, the junction,
East.
east?
Yep, it's east of Waverly.
Oh, east to Waverly, okay?
Yes.
Let me show one other picture here that you sent. That's kind of tells the story.
This looks like this might be the result of that earlier spring.
Yes.
Washout, yeah.
Would this be included in the emergency FEMA money?
I talked to Sherry about see if we can get it in there, so. And depending on what we need to do, hopefully we can get some money back from FEMA.
I mean, obviously, it's serious.
Yes,
Did
Very.
did it flow all the way through between those?
Yes.
So.
most of that dirt that you see there has dropped down from the top. As it washed out in between the culverts all the way through there. And then this dirt isn't packed on the bottom in between the culverts. It's just laying in there. I crawled in there a ways just to see if it was hard. It's not hard.
Mm.
So, but everything above is.
Mhm.
And there's asphalt and there's at least 3 feet of dirt. Like I said, we're monitoring it. If it starts to fail, we'll close that section of road, but this is to have Banner come up with a plan to fix this.
Make a motion to approve that request.
Second.
So motion by Van Duzen, second by Waterman. Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Say no. Okay, that motion carries.
Thank you.
That's it. Yeah, thanks, Rick.
Thanks,
Number
Rick.
12, action to accept a quote for carpet for the second floor courtrooms and adjacent rooms. That's in our packet.
All kinds of bids here.
It's in the packet, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the packet. Yeah, there's all sorts, because I've had them to turn around, break it down by rooms. So that, and so that, just because of what I budgeted for this year on those rooms, which they all actually are well underneath what I had estimated for bids and so that. But what you have in front of you, you'll have from Williams Carpet and so that. All the rooms, and then also from Floors and More. I did reach out to a couple more. These are the only two that showed up to give me some quotes and so that. On the comparison level and so that, on Floors and More, she actually turned around and did a nylon and a polyester comparison and so that. Nylon, of course, is a lot more longer durability. Williams Carpet is a nylon one comparison. And like it is, I through there and so that I actually turn around would recommend using a nylon preferably, because it's close to 30-40 years, I believe, since the carpet upstairs had been replaced. And I know the courtrooms are looking kind of tough, and a couple of the other rooms are starting to shred as of that. So my recommendation would be is from Floors and More for the $16,494.29 on the nylon.
The question that I
Yep.
would have, Chair, is that, is this removal and disposal?
Yep,
in both-
yep,
in
yep.
both
And then
situations?
assistance, yeah.
And these are carpet squares.
These will be carpet squares to be replaced, yes.
Mhm.
Yep,
And I'll put in the plug for carpet squares. I know we use that out in the regional extension center out at the extension complex out there, and it was ironic. They just finished carpeting and they're having trouble with one of the fireproof doors, and one of the contractors came out there and was gonna move the hinge or something and lit his torch and went to cut the hinge, and it broke off and landed on the carpet
Oh,
square.
no.
And the carpet, I don't think it was a couple weeks old is all,
Mm.
it didn't burn a hole through it, but I mean, the scorch was bad. They just went in, cut it out, put another one, and you can't
Yeah.
see the difference. They're slick.
Currently, right now, the rooms like the director of equalization and registered deeds, all the new courtroom downstairs. And then the court services are the square tiles. So
Good.
yeah, it's a lot easier to replace if need be, something gets ripped or torn. So yeah,
So budgeted item?
this is a budgeted item. Like I said, that's why I had everything broke down. Okay, do I need to sacrifice? But I have, it's well in the budget, so.
So, whoa,
So motion by Johnson.
Second.
Second by Waterman, and so this is to accept Floors and Moore's quote of for the nylon carpet of $16,494.29. Any other questions or discussion? Yeah, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll say no. Okay, that motion carries.
I will put a bug in the ear and say I currently right now, they're gonna work next week on the new sound system up in the
good.
large courtroom, so.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, so number 13 is action to approve a notice of public auction / sealed bids for lease of county hay land. And I think the auditor provided a copy. Do you want to give us a rundown on that, Linda?
Okay, so this is a 2-year lease, which ended last year, October. Typically, we would do a public auction. I also put in their opportunity for you if you'd want to do it by sealed bids. That gives individuals that opportunity to drop it off and they don't have to be here in person. This would take place with publishing requirements and so on. Then we would do this the last Tuesday in June, which would be the 27th.
So it'd be the due, if we did either auction. or
Either
sealed
way.
bids,
Yep.
that would be the due date.
Right.
Okay.
Move to approve.
So
Which way do you want to do,
Sure.
sealed or public auction?
I kind of, since we haven't got a lot of, my thought, if I can just offer this up, would be, I kind of like the sealed bid idea since we haven't tried it before.
Yeah, I do too. I think we should try that and see. Maybe we'll get more bids.
You'll do that. Sounds good.
That's right. There's a copy of the lease agreement. So people.
So do I need to amend my motion to seal bid?
Just say.
Seal bid?
Okay, so we have a motion to go with the sealed bid from Van Dusen. Second from Commissioner Waterman. Any other questions or discussion?
yeah, I have one. Now, I read this agreement here. I don't know if you call it a contract agreement. Did I miss it? But we need to be specific. Is this gonna be for 2 years as well?
It has been in the past.
It has been in the past.
yes.
I don't know, does it?
It
say-
doesn't say it in that, but it does say it in the advertisement, because I went and looked when we do the notice in the paper. The successful bidder will be offered a lease for property known, blah, 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 for a period of 2 years. So that may be something that we want to add into the hay ground, if that is, if you want to continue doing the 2-year.
Mhm.
That's
Well, I
reasonable.
think a little more specifics, there already was a question or two and a little more specific on that
Is
situation.
the motioner and the seconder okay with that?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be fine. Just put a line in there that says that this lease shall be in effect from A to B.
It doesn't make any difference to me. It just said, I think we need to explain it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I did notice that as well, that it's not in the actual lease, but when we've advertised it, it has always been a 2-year lease. So
So it's a 1-year lease.
Oh, it's
2
2 years.
2 years.
2 years, we've been doing it for 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a 2-year
So the motion
lease.
is-
Who's on second?
Motion is sealed bid,
No, he's on
2-year
first.
lease.
2-year
Okay,
lease.
so the motion is second, seal bid, 2-year lease. Okay. I got that right. Okay.
And maybe it's something that we need to have our lease looked at by our state's attorney and add that in.
Easy process, easy.
All right, any other questions or discussion? They are all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's say no. Okay, that motion carries. All right, so. 14, action to approve claims for payment.
All right, we have, the only claim is our salaries for May in the total amount of $690,495.26.
There a motion to approve?
So moved.
So motion by John, motion by Schwer, second by Jonathan. Any other questions or discussions on that? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So, no, that motion carries. Okay, number 15, action to approve automatic budget supplements.
There are none today.
Personnel changes. There are a few of
We
those.
had a
Travel.
couple of those, yes, we have two personnel changes. Two new hires actually out at the park. One is Trish Sparks. Effective date was May 30th, seasonal custodian, step AA number 1, new rate of pay 1610. And Caleb Oplet, seasonal park custodian, effective date of May 30th as well. AA number 1, his rate of pay is 1610 as well.
Move to approve.
Second.
So motion by Johnson, second by Waterman. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No, that motion carries.
Okay.
Action to approve Travel request.
Travel requests, we have several of those. Sheriff's Office, 2 employees to go to the Sheriff's Convention. And Whedon Pest, we have 3 individuals going to a seminar using the county vehicle. And maintenance, actually, there was just 1 for Whedon Pest, and then maintenance, there are 3 individuals going to a seminar using the county vehicle. And you have all the rest of the particulars of those travel
So
requests.
that sheriff's convention, just for clarification, is the National Sheriff's Convention in Michigan. So it's not the state convention,
Well,
so
thank you.
everybody knows.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Any other, is there a motion to approve travel requests? Entertain a motion to.
Yes, I'll make that
So
motion.
motion by Van Duzen. Second to him.
I'll second it.
Second by Schwer. Okay, any other questions or discussion? So you clarified that the Sheriff's Convention is National Sheriff's Convention.
Well, just because they're going to be driving. I
Yeah,
just-
yeah, that's good. All right. Hearing no other discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Let's say no. Okay, that motion carries. All right, public notices, possible form of commissioners. Mr. Johnson, you're the guy.
I think tomorrow we have the Republican,
Yeah, oh yeah, we have the GOP monthly meeting.
that's first Wednesday.
What else we don't think we have.
Thursday Night Live, Dairy Palooza, Dairy Day is June, Dairy Month is June. I should say not Dairy Day, but June is Dairy Month.
Janice Dairyman.
So there will be the Dairy Palooza on Thursday Night Live. The Egg Committee will be serving grilled cheese sandwiches and ice cream at a booth.
Oh, that's good.
Sounds remarkable.
Right.
Sounds good.
So commissioners might turn up there. Okay. Anything else? All right. In the old business. Okay, is there any new business? No. Anything for the open? I don't think we got any members of the public. Okay. We do have a need for an executive session for personnel issues and litigation. So did you want to?
I do have one thing for commissioner comments, probably on.
Oh,
open.
go ahead. Yeah, bring it back up.
So I was asked to serve on the Law Enforcement Officer Standards and Training Commission to represent counties by the Attorney General. So if we could put that on our list of assignments.
So is that more because of your background? I think it's.
Yeah.
For your- okay.
Yeah, so. South Dakota Law Enforcement Officer Standards and Training Commission representing counties.
Representing.
A lot.
That's great. That sounds good.
Thank you.
Yeah, just since you mentioned that, couple things going on, I guess, in some of the committees I'm on, just one where I'm on the executive committee for the, I guess, the South Dakota County Commissioners Association. And the discussion there is just about what these summer studies are going to be about, especially the one about county, basically county funding and county responsibilities, kind of it sounds similar to the study done in 2015, but it's going to be a little bit more focused on in the judicial area probably, as far as what the questions they address are. And then there also is a UJS, so Unified Judicial System working group or task force on indigent representation. So in other words, public defenders and how does that work? And what, and so they're this at the state level or the judicial system level, they're looking at who's doing what, who's paying for what in that area. And I think that the latter one, so the UJS one is likely to come up with some kind of recommendation. Maybe the state would pay for part of, but I don't know, we'll see. It's going to take place over the summer. They're right now, they're in the information gathering stage. So try to keep you posted on those things. Thanks for reminding me by mentioning what you mentioned. So we do have a need for executive session, and that's personnel, contractual issues, and possible and litigation issues. So ticking all the boxes. There's not going to be any action afterwards. So I entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So move.
So motion by Schwer,
Second.
second by Van Duzen. So all in favor to go into executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
We'll see no. Okay. Let's do the possible litigation